Hey, what up YouTube, welcome back to a new video with Rams fan YT. In today's video I will be making my Premier League predictions for the upcoming season. It's pre-recorded, so there may have been the odd one or two transfers that have been completed, but I'm doing it on Tuesday, so there shouldn't have been too many, and it shouldn't really overall affect, because I've looked at some of the rumours and what most likely transfers are going to happen. So then, 20th, I've got Fulham. They always get relegated, then promoted. That is the Fulham way. I'm not worried about the goal scoring, to be fair. I do think Mitrovic will be better this season than last time. I don't even think he was that bad last time. I think he was treated a bit harshly. And they've also brought in Pereira, who is an attacking midfielder. Very good player, certainly from what I remember anyhow. However, the biggest worry I have is the defence. They've got nowhere near the depth or strength there to keep themselves anywhere near competitive in the Premier League, so they'll be relegated. 19th, Bournemouth. Again, they haven't brought in the quality needed to stay in this league. They don't have a good enough goalkeeper, and the goal-scoring emphasis lies on the scorers at Solanke, Kiefer Moore and Anthony. All of which are very good Championship players, don't get me wrong, but let's look at their output in the Premier League. Solanke is the only one of the three who has ever played at this level, and he has only ever scored 4 goals in the Premier League, and that was over 3 seasons. So that's really, really bad. I do think Solanke will get a bit better this season, but there are serious concerns about the goal output, and so they will definitely be relegated. 18th, Leeds United. They were very lucky not to be relegated last season, and the lack of quality really shone through. If you look at it, they've lost their 2-star players of Rafinha and Calvin Phillips. They haven't brought in any quality to replace that. Everybody's saying, oh yeah, but they got Patrick Bamford, so they're going to be good. Patrick Bamford had a one-off good season. He's not overall been known to be very good at the Premier League level. They are bound to be relegated. Now, there's going to be a massive gap, I think, in terms of points total. I think they're all nailed on, and then there's going to be maybe even 4 to 6 points gap. Because 17th gone with Brighton and Hove Albion. And it seems ridiculous looking at last season, but last season was actually a really big overachievement. I think they peaked slightly too soon as well. They lost some of their key players, the most notable of which is being Basuma. I think everyone's talking about that one, but it also looks nailed on that Cucurella is going to leave. I heard talks have fallen down with Manchester City, but equally likely to go to Chelsea, apparently. And either way, he'll leave at the end of his transfer window. Most of the players are lower half Premier League standard, but I think they'll be comfortably clear of relegation because there won't be much of a fight at the bottom of the table. 16th, gone with Wolverhampton Wanderers. My biggest worry is if Jose Sarr gets injured. There was a massive over-reliance on him last season, as well as the overall defence, to be fair. Connor Cody and Romain Site. There was various good defenders. They're very good in defence. But if teams find out how to get past that defence, I think there could be quite danger towards a critical level, to be fair. They don't score enough goals is my biggest issue, though. If they want to maintain a top half finish, then they need to bring in a new goal scorer, because there's a huge over-reliance on Pedro Neto to score the goals, and I don't think he's an out-and-out goal scorer, really. But they'll comfortably stay up. 15th, Southampton. They finish around this position every year. They will start the season well, but have a slump like usual and finish in this position. But I do believe Hasenhüttl is a perfect suit for this club, but he can't improve from this position without a massive improvement in the squad. And there's not really been that. They've lost Broja, big loss to them, and they haven't really replaced as well that much. 14th, I've gone with Newcastle United. I have actually heard some laughable claims, including my Jim White on TalkSport, that Newcastle will already reach the top 6 in the Premier League. Not going to happen. The problem I have is that the squad is still actually mid-table quality, and they've brought in a few good players with Guimaraes and Kieran Trippier and stuff. But you need to look on each player by player basis. They've still got like players like Joe Linton. I know he did well last season. Manquillo. I think one of the Longstaff brothers, I think, is still there at least. There is Dubravka. They're good players, but they're no better than mid-table. They haven't brought in loads this season, so this transfer window, as I thought they may have done. Eddie Howe is also not the long-term manager, in my opinion. He hasn't had much experience of having A, this much money to be able to spend on players, and B, also to have this weight of expectation. Bournemouth, there wasn't much expectation there at all. It was like, well, Bournemouth are going to be in a relegation picture no matter what. So yeah, mid-table. 13th going Nottingham Forest. I've used my head here, not my heart, and I could have definitely put them in bottom with 0 points. And that's where I want them to be fair. But they've made some very good acquisitions, I'm not going to lie. Although I wouldn't say that to a Forest fan if I was in a conversation with them. But the players from the Bundesliga are good, and they've also got some Premier League quality players: Nico Williams, Jesse Lingard, Wayne Hennessy, and Dean Henderson, and 2 of the ones from very good Championship players of Lewis O'Brien and Harry Toffolo. I know technically Wayne Hennessy came from Burnley, who are now in the Championship, but he's a Premier League player. Therefore, with the squad they have, they'll finish mid-table, but I'd rather see them relegated with 0 points. 12th, Aston Villa. I do get a bit confused when I hear people saying that they will challenge for Europe. Yes, they have a good squad, but Steven Gerrard has absolutely no experience in this league. But I think he will replicate what Vieira did last season at Palace, with a mid-table finish, but have very, very good performances. They will definitely be mid-table, and I think Villa fans should just accept that as a very good finish. They've brought in Coutinho and Diego Carlos, and also Olsen in goal. I think Coutinho's the most important out of all of them. And there's also offloaded some of the Deadwood, Wesley, Trezeguet. I'm reluctant to say Conor Hourihane, but I don't think he's Premier League standard. But he's certainly not League One standard, so I'm very glad he's come to Derby. I would say that this would be a transition season with some good acquisitions, but just not enough to go and challenge for Europe, really. 11th, I've just mentioned them, Crystal Palace. They will reach for mid-table position again. Vieira, to be fair, did do better than I thought last season. I didn't give him much credit, and he's actually a very good manager of this level, although I didn't think he would be. They've also spent loads. No, they haven't spent loads, sorry, but what they have done is brought in quality players. They've got Doucouré, Richards, and Sam Johnston. Very good goalkeeper, Sam Johnson, actually. They've also invested in the future. They've taken 2 of Derby's best academy products, or some of the best. I wouldn't say the best. Top 5, maybe, some of them. Ebiwobi and Luke Plange. I certainly think Ebiwobi is better than Luke Plange. And overall, I think it'll be a decent season for Palace, finishing a respectable 11th place, yeah. 10th, Brentford. Some people are saying that the Bees will suffer a second season syndrome, including the bookies, to be fair, and that they'll go and be relegated. But I don't believe that they will. There's something about their transfer policy. I think they've got the best transfer policy, actually, of any club I cover on this channel. We'll do it on that basis. They have made some under-the-radar transfers, really. Keane Lewis-Potter from Hull was really good last season. I'm surprised they let him go. Hickey from Genoa. He used to play for Hearts, sorry. Very good player there. Ben Mee from Burnley. Really rated him as a centre-back. The big loss, of course, everyone talking about is Christian Eriksen. But Brentford haven't ever really been a one-player team, which I think is very good. And so the overall team is actually still good enough to finish mid-table. 9th, I've gone with Everton. Okay, so they had an awful season last season. But I think it was a bit of a bad storm and caught in the eye of a storm of really bad things happening around him. They had Rafa Benitez, which was an awful appointment to me, was never going to go well. They spent loads of money into Mashiri, and that was not the policy to go. There's really big dodgy about their losses in COVID and how the transfer market collapsed, so player value dropped and stuff. And there was also protests at the club. But I do hear there's going to be 4 acquisitions at least by the end of the transfer window, according to Lampard. And I think they're a bit of a sleeping giant, really, and I think they will rise again. I don't think Lampard is given enough credit for being a manager, as I know he's not had historically that much success, but he's certainly not a relegation candidate. I think just because he's been inexperienced, I do actually think he does well. He suits the situation, and I think he'll create a team spirit. They have improved their defence. They've brought in Tarkowski, certainly a good player there, along with McNeil, both from Burnley. And also looks like they're going to get a hat-trick of players from Burnley. It looks like Cornet might be coming in. They have lost Richarlison. I am conflicted. I think Richarlison can be on his day a good player, but I think for the last couple of seasons he's really been off the boil. And not quite good enough, just been rolling around, play acting a bit. And they've also got Calvert-Lewin to come back from injury. So that's going to be almost like a new transfer, isn't it? So yeah, battling spirit by Lampard to push them into mid-table. 8th going Leicester City. I have actually heard some very ridiculous calls that Leicester will finish bottom half of the table. I see no basis for that, especially seeming they don't have a distraction of Europe this season. They also have a very good squad, seeming they haven't lost any players, I don't think. Not from what I was checking anyhow, although it does look like Maddison might leave. They haven't brought anyone in. That is the bit of an issue. The only club in any of the top 5 leagues I was hearing, the big 5 leagues of Europe, to have not brought anyone in this transfer window. But if you look at their squad, they've historically been very successful. So yeah, I think they'll challenge for Europe again this season. 7th going with Manchester United. Now, a few seasons ago this would have been a very ridiculous call. I mean, even last season I don't think anyone would have predicted them to fall off quite as much as they did. But Erik ten Hag has not really had his desired transfer window as one may have expected, including himself probably in that. They have offloaded Pogba, Matic and Lingard, and I think heard Cavani has left as well. And they've only really brought in Martinez from Ajax, Malacia, I think that's how you pronounce it, from Feyenoord, and Christian Eriksen. So overall the squad is still very bad to be anywhere near top 4 conversations. Ronaldo's making an absolute mess at the club with some bad press going towards him and therefore directly to the club, not turning up to training, not turning up to matches, being really awkward. They still have the clowns at the club of Maguire, Fred and McTominay. They have no decent goal scorer as well. I mean, let's not... Ronaldo's not been in any of the pre-season games, so... And how likely is he to start in any of the games at the start of the season? And would he even buy into the Ten Hag having his way, not Ronaldo's way? And if they can't get their transfer targets, like De Jong, who looks like he doesn't even want to go to United, along with a few others, I just think it's not going to be a good season. I think it'll be another diabolical season, and a massive overhaul is needed to be done. It's basic fact. Therefore, 7th, I think, isn't actually an underachievement. 6th, Chelsea. It's actually become a bit of a meme recently that all of Chelsea's targets in the transfer window have actually gone to Barcelona. I do find that kind of funny. I'm sure Chelsea fans don't. But they have brought in Raheem Sterling and Kalidou Koulibaly. They are very good acquisitions. But if we actually look at it, the defence has actually been quite reduced quite a bit. We got Christensen leaving, Antonio Rudiger leaving, as well as a waste of money that was Lukaku. Let's face it, he made the squad so much worse. It also looks like Cesar Azpilicueta is going to leave come the end of the transfer window. So overall, they have a worse squad than last season, I think. And I think they did overachieve a bit last season, if we're being honest. Some of the other clubs started a bit slow, and they had a good start. But the second half of the season, they were quite poor, and the other teams gradually caught up and actually looked for a while that they could have even been knocked out of third place. I do expect Tuchel to be sacked on the end of the season if Todd Bowley has anything to go with Roman Abramovich, his style of ownership. So yeah. 5th, West Ham United. I am so happy that they have become a top 6 side and have upset the status quo. They still have a decent squad that reached the Europa League semi-finals last season. And they only just missed out on qualification for Europa League again last season, if we look at it. I think it was the last game of the season, and they looked very good all season, and they only unfortunately missed out due to a bit of bad form at the end of the season. They also only lost Yarmolenko, Ryan Fredericks and Mark Noble. Mark Noble, absolute legend for the Hammers. And enjoy your retirement. Very good player. But they have actually acquired some hidden gems as well from both Serie A and Liga 1. So I think they deserve to reach the Europa League again. 4th, going with Arsenal, the youngest squad in the Premier League. Every season, Arsenal are making small steps under Arteta, but he needs Champions League qualification if he's to stick around the club, really. I think on the fan base and we can buy into his project, but we need to be doing better. But they have the youth available to succeed. Saka, Smith Rowe, Martinelli, some key players just rattled up there. They've also brought in Ramsdale last season, didn't they? Who's also quite good. And this season they've acquired Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus. So yeah, that's some good experience. They also, what they've been needed for a while now, Arsenal, is to be removing some of the dead wood. Some of the last transfers made under Wenger were absolutely awful. Guendouzi and Lacazette, good riddance they've gone. Jesus is actually what they needed as well to progress. He's a proven goal scorer at this level, did very well at Manchester City. And I think that was the department they were actually lacking in, was a goal scorer. Seeming they shipped off Aubameyang to Barcelona. I do think Jesus could fit into that mould nicely. 3rd, Tottenham Hotspur. Well, I'm quite surprised about how well they've done over the last season. I thought they were not going to be able to do that well. But the Antonio Conte effect has clearly made the squad really competitive. With his tough rules and the players like Kane and Son, they will be propelled into Champions League, I think, definitely. They've acquired Richarlison, as I said, bit 50-50 on him, but with a good squad around him, I think he will be a good player. And Yves Bissouma, good player as well. And they also got rid of Bergwijn. I think he was a bit of a waste of space, to be honest. So the overall team has improved, and the final position will show the improvement in the overall performances that has come with the Conte effect. 2nd, Liverpool. I think this will be a similar season as last time. There'll be a shuffle of the squad this time, though. I do think the loss of Mane will either be huge, so there'll be a bit of a gulf between 1st and 2nd, like a couple of seasons ago, or hardly notice at all. This depends on the ability of several key players of Núñez, Carvalho, Firmino, Salah and Jota, who's just signed a new contract actually I've seen, to step up and take the goal scoring burden on that he had. I'm sure they will. I mean, Salah scored, did he get the golden boot last season? He did very well, certainly. And they've also got rid of a lot of the squad that aren't first teamers, so they're not endangering this fraction in the dressing room. Got rid of Nico Williams, Minamino, Ben Davis, Divock Origi, and Loris Karius. Bit of a joke about that last one, to be fair. I don't even know why he was still at Liverpool. I think they will win the Champions League, I say, and another cup. I don't know whether it's the FA Cup or the EFL Cup. I don't know, but the other one will go to Manchester City. And of course, first, I don't think I've seen anyone say otherwise, that Manchester City are going to win the league. Obviously, it does get quite boring. It does I do sort of turn off of it if Manchester City so much domination with them constantly winning the league. But with the transfers they made of Haaland and Calvin Phillips, it's not a massive overhaul as one might have expected. I know coming into this transfer window, everyone's like, oh, everyone's going to leave City because they've not won the Champions League and their time is up and Pep Guardiola is going to leave soon. Well, yeah, Guardiola is going to leave soon, he said that. But I don't see why the players should. Sterling, I can understand why he's gone. He wants regular football. Jesus, the exact same reason. Haaland's just sort of replaced him. Zinchenko, he wasn't first choice anyhow. And Fernandinho, yeah, they brought in Phillips though to replace him, and it's a bit of experience gone, but I think Rodri's probably a better player anyhow. The goal scoring does lie on Haaland's shoulders, so it's whether he hits the ground running or not. I think he has the quality to, but we have seen with Bundesliga in the past with Sancho, Werner, Havertz, other players as well, but they don't necessarily immediately hit the ground running. But I think they do have enough quality to win the league and the other domestic cups that Liverpool don't win, whether that's the FA Cup or EFL Cup. We could even see a City versus Liverpool final of the Champions League. That would be quite exciting. Depends whether the draw favours it or not. Thank you very much for watching though. Please subscribe if you're new around here. I'm going on holiday after this for about 3 weeks, so there won't be any videos because I can't be bothered to pre-record about 6. But please do stay subscribed. I know some people leave if I don't upload, but it'll be good. I've got plenty of things planned for the new season after my holiday. I've got the transfer windows, best signings. I'm then going to do some stuff about the World Cup maybe. Still got a load of the history of the clubs to rattle through. And maybe some non-league stuff as well. But goodbye for now.